Hello, my name is Jeff, and I'm going to show you how to set up a database to a Windows Form application. I know that sometimes that's a scary thing because it was scary for me. I've only been doing this myself for a short period of time, but we're going to start a new project and we're going to do a Windows application, and we're just going to call it a data test as something to use as a name. So it's going to be data test, Windows Form, C#, and we're going to say OK. Our form comes up. And if I can do this, anybody can do this because, trust me, like I said, I'm new. We're going to start right off by going over to the data test and right-click, go down to Add New Item. I'm going to select the service-based database, and we're going to call it Customers, just for something to call it. And we're going to say Add. Now, we're going to connect the database after, so right at the moment, I'm just going to say cancel. And at that point, I have a system where I have a form, and I've created a database, as you can see in the Solution Explorer. And then I'm going to go down, and I'm going to click onto my Server Explorer, which is showing my database. And as you can see over here, the database has been created, and there's several options and several folders underneath it. Now we're going to make a table, and there are no tables, so we will right-click on that, and we will add new table. And when this comes up, it's going to ask you for information about what you want in your table. I'm going to start out with an ID. That ID is going to be an integer, so I set that. I definitely want everybody to have an ID, so I do not want to allow nulls. I do want to know their name. That is going to be a character, but I don't know how long their name is going to be, so I'm going to give them 30 spots. And I definitely do not want to have a null. I want to know their name. Now next we can go address. And with the address, we're going to give them more like 50 to put in there, but I don't really care if I have their address or not, so I'll leave it that I allow nulls. Contact phone. Is once again also going to be an integer. And that integer needs to be there because I do not want to be without a way to contact. So there you are. Basically, we just made a quick little thing as far as a database and a few items that would go into the database. Now, with that said, I also don't want to have to write in an ID number every time. I want it to increment on its own. So I'm going to select it off to the left here and then go down into my column properties until I get to the ID specifications. I'm going to double click on that, and now it says that this is valid. Yes, there is going to be an ID, and it's going to increment by one at a time, with the starting number being 1. Also, we're going to make this the key to the table. So up here on the left hand side, there's a little key, and if you press that, we've now created a key, and we've created what this is for automatically updating. So there you go. We have a form, and we have some tables. How do we get them to connect together? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to save, and it's going to say, what do you want for a name of the table? And we're just going to say customers is going to be the name of the table. And we're going to say OK. And as you can see over here now in our Explorer, we have an actual table underneath our tables folder inside our Explorer. Now with the form, I'm going to go over to data source, which I have these tabs at the bottom, but you can put them anywhere you'd like. We're going to right click and we're going to say add data source. So we're going to add a database. Yes, that is true. It's going to be the customers that we just set up. So that is also true. And yes, we want to save the connection as the string. So we do next. And now it has connected to the database and it just wants to know what part of it you want to connect to. We're going to check mark tables because underneath that, of course, is all our information about the table. We say finish and it starts updating, and in the data source area we now have connections to our customers database and to our tables. We're going to save once again, and we are going to go over here to the Solution Explorer and press refresh. Now we want to put our table onto the form, so we're going to drag this over and give it a little pull up, set it wherever we want in the form just so that it looks hunky-dory. And there you go. You've started a forms project. You've created that form or created the database that connects to it, and you've put the form on, put the database table onto the form to be able to be used. If we run the program now, it's going to come up ready to use, at least in the fashion that we can start entering information, because things are connected within the program and within the application. There'll be other tutorials on how to set up the saving function and other methods to go with this, but for the basic setup of a database, that's really it. And as I say, I'm a very newcomer to this, so if I can do it, you can do it. Don't be afraid. Look for the next video that shows you how to actually save the information that you're putting into the tables while using the form, because we will have to initiate some code to operate this toolbar. Thank you, and have an excellent day.